Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a pretty good while here. I wanted to bring you guys along today and show you a new wood stove that just installed in our closed porch. I've been wanting this style of stove for a good while now, and I have a regular stove in the house, a modern EPA stove with the reburn system and all that. I like the way these look. I think they look pretty neat, and I don't need anything huge for this porch, obviously. See a lot of negative comments on these and that, and at this stage, making this video, I have not tried this stove out yet, but I wanted to walk you guys through. This isn't so much an installation video or anything like that, but I wanted to address some of the things that I've seen as far as comments go, negative comments and things, and show you some of the things that I've run into and some little corrections / upgrades that I decided to make to this stove. And I got the stove on sale for $300 through my local Rural King. They had a sale going on, $50 off basically. So I'm going to kind of walk you around, show you some of the things that I came across, and compare that with some of the comments that I've seen and what I've done differently with it. So sit tight, and I'll switch you guys over, and we'll take a walk around here and show you what's what. Okay, guys, if you don't know what this stove is, this is the U.S. Stoves, U.S. Stove Company 900 square foot Logwood stove. This is the modern EPA version of this stove, EPA approved, whatever you want to call that. It's got a secondary reburn system in it. However, even being a modern EPA stove, this stove does not have a inlet control like your higher end stoves with like the glass fronts and all that. However, it does have the reburn system inside. I'll show you that here if I can. Get my light out here. There, you guys can kind of see those reburn tubes in there up top, and it's got that baffle in there. So that's, I guess we'll start right there. I hear a lot of people, or I've seen comments where people, I don't know if maybe they don't have the experience with a modern wood stove, or don't care so much about it. Whichever, take your pick, I guess. Anyhow, I've seen comments where people have torn this board out, trying to make this stove more like the old time ones with the lift out cook lids and things like that. That board is supposed to be in there for it to function, and for that reburn system to function, to burn your smoke and gases that come off the burning wood inside. I guess to each their own. Like I say, it's not supposed to be removed. That is part of the system. I'll try to see up inside here again if I can show you. So in front, pretty difficult to see, but in front of that last tube, that board stops, and there's an opening where the smoke travels up around that and across the top of the stove, and then exits the stove. Now again, this does not have, this is a single rate burn stove is what they call it. So your air inlet comes in on the door here, up under this cover. There's a slot in there basically that's open to the inside, and then this baffle directs it down and into the stove. But it's a single rate. You don't have a control over it. I've read comments where people try to come up with some way to do that, put some type of control on it. Haven't seen anything showing otherwise, or that it works, or if it's been done. But that's modifying the stove, so I don't know if take that for what it's worth, I guess. So, the first concern that I had with this stove, and keep in mind, like I said, this is a $300 stove on sale, but that baffle board up in there, the first thing I came across with mine is that board did not go all the way to the back of the stove like it was supposed to. There was about a 1/4 inch gap back there, maybe 5/16 inch gap back there, and I tried everything to slide that board back all the way so that it would make the seal at the back of the stove like it's supposed to. I could not budge that board. I even loosened up some of the fasteners on the stove, trying to take some tension off it, thinking that maybe that would allow it to slide, but it didn't. So my solution to that was I took some 3/8 inch rope gaskets, and I stuffed that into the gap at the back, and then sealed it with some 2,000 degree furnace cement, basically. So you guys can see down inside there what I was talking about with that repair, or not repair so much, but adaptation maybe. That's where that fiber board didn't meet the back of the stove, so I kind of, like I said, put that rope gasket in there and then sealed it up with that high temp sealant for the wood stoves. And then what I had to do, because it sat forward a 1/4 inch, is up at the front here, I trimmed that board back even with that the end of that reburn tube there. You can kind of see where I cut that off so that it has an adequate path for the smoke to clear and go up and around like it's supposed to. Now you can see this stove's a little different than the old ones. The old ones used to be sealed with furnace cement. You can see all the joints in this stove are sealed with some type of a rope gasket all the way around, which is kind of neat in my opinion. I do like that option. But I think that's to help try to make this airtight. It is supposed to be you know, airtight other than the single inlet that it has there. The next complaint that I'm going to address, and I have not corrected this one yet, I wanted to shoot this video before I make the correction so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. But the door, it has a rope gasket seal around it. You are supposed to be able to close that, and it should make a nice tight seal. Now, I've heard and read comments in other videos where the door might have been cast a little wonky or something, and it doesn't quite make a seal. And my opinion, I thought, how bad could that be, or how accurate is that? Is it people just complaining because this is a cheap stove, or cheaper stove, inexpensive? A lot of complaints that it's made in China, but people have still bought it anyhow. I bought it. I think it's a neat looking stove. I'm going to try it out anyhow. But this is I think what people were talking about. If you look closely here, you can see, try to get the light right, that rope gasket, the top of the door, does not make an actual seal up there. It does not close all the way. So you can see an air gap there between the stove body and the rope gasket on that door. It's not like that the whole way. The top is fine, off, but the bottom seals pretty good. So it looks like it may have been cast slightly off at the top. So that validates complaints that I have seen and read. What I'm going to do with that, and you'll see, I'll show you guys after I'm finished with it, I'm going to pull that. It's a 3/8 rope gasket on that door. I'm going to pull that off and put a 1/2 inch rope gasket all the way around that door and help close that seal off, or close that gap up there. And I'm going to adjust the bracket on the door here, the latch. I'm going to adjust that latch a little bit. You have some freedom in there with adjustment nuts. So I'm going to try to bring that out a hair so that that pulls tight when it shuts. So those are the first two concerns. Again, I'll show you, I'll show the end result when I switch that over. Now, up to the top of the stove here, you can see this is different from the previous stoves that had to lift out cook lids. This is a solid top across this stove. You still have your little burner areas here for cooking on. They just don't lift out. It's just a solid surface. But should be fine. It's almost like two little burners. We'll find out. I've seen some other videos on YouTube here where people were just doing specifically cooking on it to show you that it's good. There's another video that's really in depth. I believe the channel is Amish PA. The gentleman did a quite a detailed cover of his installation. Showed you from basically start to finish on that, running the chimney and everything. And then he did an update video later on, taking some temperature readings on the stove, like an update on the stove, you know, kind of discussing how things have gone for him, whatever, and addressed some of his comments in the video. You could check that out if you're interested. Pretty good documentation of the stove and his experience with it. But anyhow, he took temperature readings of the stove, and on those two burners, he was up above 550 degrees, I believe it was, on either one of them. So more than enough heat to cook, in theory. So we'll check it out when we get that far. Like I said, I have not fired this stove yet. I got to fix that door gaskets. So yeah. All right, moving on. The next concern I had was the flue collar here. On my modern EPA stove that I have in the house, the main house in our family room, the collar is a separate piece cast from the stove, just as this one is. The other stoves, the more expensive stoves, pricier stoves, came with a rope gasket to seal this this collar to the stove. This did not come with that, which I thought defeated the purpose of you know, supposedly being an airtight EPA stove. So I didn't like the fact that there was no contact seal there. It was literally just metal to metal. So what I did is I took some rope gasket here, you can see, and I glued that in with high temp door gasket sealer, and I glued that all the way around the collar, and then tightened that collar down right onto that to make a nice tight seal there. I did put a couple of washers down there since it raised the collar height just a smidge with the rope underneath it. So I put 2 washers on each side so that I could tighten the collar down tight, but not snap those little ears off the collar. Obviously, that would not be a good. That would kind of defeat all the steps taken to try to seal that up or whatever. So that was my other. You can kind of see there. If I can focus. There we go. Anyhow, rope gasket in there to seal that up. I feel better about that. I didn't like the idea that that being loose and open. Then you can get a better look at the rope seal around the collar in there too. Moving up the stovepipe here, it recommends not having a damper with this stove. The book recommends just don't do it, but I don't believe in that. I put one in my chimney pipe here, or I'm sorry, stovepipe, about 12 inches up from the flue collar, more or less as an insurance policy. That's my take on them. Not so much for use, but if you ever run into an overfire situation or chimney fire or something to that effect, you can throw that and shut it and close down the draft on that. So I put it in. It's not recommended. However, buying, like I say, insurance policy in my mind. I've done it on all my stoves that I've ever installed at my old home and this home. I won't go without it. Like I said, I feel it's better to have it in there and available if something should go wrong, God forbid. But yeah, so that's in there. At that point, that's pretty much about it. One last thing, I guess, I will tell you is I did see something in another video. Again, I think it was I think his channel's Amish PA. He went ahead and took this stove and he put fire brick in here. He said in his video that 4 fire brick sitting sideways in there from front to back would fit just perfect. I like that idea because I think he's onto something there about protecting the bottom of the stove or keeping the longevity of it. The one thing that I did notice, though, I haven't put them in yet, but I'm going to show you. Let me grab one of these bricks here. If you set it in there, it fits in there sideways. However, it does not fit flush on the floor. So there you can see there's a gap underneath that, which is fine. What I think I'll do is actually just lay a bed of ash under that. And I'm sure there's somebody that's out there that's going to say, well, you're losing good firebox space, whatever. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. This is, like I say, this is on an enclosed porch or in an enclosed porch. I don't need a ton of heat. This is basically just to kind of warm it up a little bit in the winter so it's usable. And go from there. Plus the ability to have the cooktop up there if we want to warm something up there or whatever, or use it just for cooking in general, power outage or something to that effect. So it's not like we're trying to heat a house with this or a shop area or something. It's just a small space. We don't need huge fires in here, so the small amount of space it's going to be missing, I'm not gonna worry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'll put a layer of ash underneath that so that the bricks sit right up on the top of the ash, and that should protect the floor of it pretty good, and maybe reflect some of that heat up to that reburn system, which is the key to that. It's hot incoming air that ignites the gases, the unburned gases. So a little heat reflected back up should probably be okay in my opinion. So that's where we're at with this. I'm going to go ahead and take care of that door. I'll come back and I'll show you how that turned out, and then we'll get it going and burn off all the paint and that comes from the manufacturer, and we'll see how this stove does. But neat looking stove. I always love the way these things look, the style of it. Basically, I always think they look really neat, and always wanted one. So we're going to try it out here and go from there. I like the look of it. I think it adds some character. Clearance wise, I guess I could address that too. You can see I've got some put a heat shield on my wall, basically just metal roofing panel, cut down the size. Most installations recommend your heat shield 1 inch away from the wall. I did set mine at 2 inches. I can't believe the extra air gap wouldn't be okay. I think a little extra airflow back there will be fine. Should extra layer of protection. So there it is. US stove, 900 square foot, Logwood style stove. I'm going to cut you guys off here for now. I'll get that door taken care of and get those bricks and ash in there, and I'll get back with you and show you where we're at, and we'll burn that paint off. Okay guys, here's a quick shot inside as I put the ash layer in there and the fire brick on top. You can see how that'll shape up. There's a couple of them in there. There's the overall appearance. This is the little, supposed to be 3/8 door gasket that's on here. So we'll pop that out and glue that 1/2 inch in there, and then adjust that bracket or the latch there. See what we come up with. Okay guys, here's the new rope installed on the door. So 1/2 inch was too thick. So what I did is took 3/8 and just kind of mushed it up on itself to make it thicker. But here's the two as is side by side. This is the old stuff, and this is the new stuff. So you can see there's actually, the new stuff's actually slightly thicker already. So there you go. We'll let that set up and see how it plays out. Alright guys, so the final outcome on the door is that the thicker gasket still didn't work. That door was obviously warped or whatever, like some of the comments had talked about. I mentioned previously that the door, people had complained that the door was cast wrong or cast wonky or something. Evidently that was the case, because I could not get it to seal. So ultimately, I went back to the store. I talked to the store manager where I bought the stove, and he was willing to swap the door for me, which turned out much better. Everything works like it's supposed to now. It is a little, I'm gonna have to see if I can find maybe a slightly thicker pins. There was actually differences between the replacement door and the new door, the old door. Just minor differences. This handle here was just slightly thicker, which was weird. So I had to take this with a 1/2 inch drill bit and drill that out just a hair to get that to fit on there to operate like it's supposed to. But it's there. Little extra trouble. I know some are going to say it's not worth it, and all the Chinese crap and all that. I get it. That's okay. Anyhow, I told you before, I like the way these stoves look, and that's cool. But anyhow, it turned out it seals fine now. I can get it shut the way it's supposed to. So all in all, it turned out okay. So that was the kind of the final step for it. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I got that taken care of, and then I was dissatisfied with the flue collar. Still the same collar, but with your stovepipe having to nest down inside of it, you know, from top to bottom. For whatever reason, the collar's a good bit bigger than the crimped end of the stovepipe. So I did go back to the store and bought a small section. This is similar to your like the slip fit connectors, to make it easier to install the pipe. The only thing is, it's basically it's made the same way. It's identical to the slip fit connector. However, it's shorter, and they actually had it kind of ovalized. They marketed it or sold it as an oval adapter is what it was. But I just kind of formed it back into a circle again, and it fits nice and snug down inside there now. And I was able to get the screws in there, and it looks like a nice clean fit. So I kind of had to redo the pipe after that then. So we went right up the pipe, kind of adjusted it. I added that piece in and then put the slip fit connector all the way at the top. So it works out pretty well. Everything's good to go now, and I like the fit much better. I did move the damper down into that small piece there. As I mentioned before, just an insurance policy for it. Not intended for actual use, just an emergency to shut off or block off chimney if necessary. So there's where we're at, guys. So recapping, I had to fix that board in there, or fill that gap inside. I put the rope gasket around the collar, if you remember, and then the hassle with the door. So it cost me an extra trip to the store. Seems to be working much better now. I feel more comfortable with it. So I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments if you think it's worth the trouble, worth the headache. I particularly personally don't mind a little bit of extra work. The door was kind of frustrating me a little bit, but it worked out in the end. So all in all, there it is. I'm going to go ahead and get a small burn going to start curing the coating that's on it. And they say three small fires in it to cure it, and basically the paint and the iron itself, the cast iron itself, they want three small low heat cycles in it. So that'll be our next step, and we'll see how it burns. Okay, we've got just like 4 small little half logs in there, and a little bit of smaller stuff there just to get going. Stuff some newspaper up in here, and we'll light that up and see how that goes. Test this thing out. All right. See how it goes. Starting to take off a little better now. No problem with smoke at all so far. Following up right where it's supposed to. So there you have it, guys. I think that's about a wrap for it. We'll go ahead and get this broke in, and should be good for us. I'm excited to use it this winter if we need to, and try out some cooking on it maybe. But there you have it. I'll get back with you guys at some point down the road maybe, and see how it's fared, and let you guys know with an update. But I will link, if you guys are interested, to that other channel I spoke of, Amish PA. Again, he does a pretty detailed installation on this, and then does a follow-up on his as well. Some of the questions and concerns and stuff like that other people had for him. So if you want to check it out, like I said, I'll leave the link, and I guess that'll about do it. Thanks for coming along, guys. We'll catch you on the next video.